Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Robert Sports Show, from the independent scene to the main event of WrestleMania. We are at TNA Rebellion review here. Who, overall, really solid show. TNA, since the rebranding back in January, they've had some good shows. They've had some okay shows. Some of it, it's kind of like some of the booking on, especially on this show, there was one match in particular that literally, as I'm watching the match, I'm just like, pure trash. We'll get to that. But you know what? There was some good things. There was some title changes. So first off, we had a 6-man tag team match, kind of starting off the countdown to Rebellion. We had ABC, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, teaming up with Leon Slater, taking on the Rascalz, Myron Reed, Trey, Miguel, and Zachary Wentz. This match should have been on the main card. This match was freaking awesome. I ended up giving it 3.5. But when you have some of the best X Division guys, some of the best tag team guys, ABC, Rascalz, you can take any 6 of these guys and interchange them into an X Division match and or tag match, and you're going to have a great match. The Rascalz, known for their dives to the outside, the high flying. Same way with ABC. Ace Austin, known for his dives. I can't talk there. My brain just stopped there. Leon Slater, he takes high risk. He takes high risk to a whole new level. And that's what these guys did. It was just a nice 6-man tag, a lot of lucha libre style. Again, I give it 3.5 with ABC and Leon Slater getting the victory. Next up, we had the TNA Digital Media Championship on the line. We had champion Crazy Steve defending against Laredo Kid. This title has been kind of weird for me. It was only defended on YouTube for a while there, and then on some of the buy-ins, because they're on YouTube, or the countdowns, they're on YouTube. It's been on some of the main shows. It's like, I get the point behind it. You've had some interesting champions. Crazy Steve ended up beating Tommy Dreamer for it, and I think it was a Hardcore Rules match. He's kind of just, to me, he's just not worthy. Maybe worthy isn't the right word, but he's kind of like, his character has no really development. They got to a point where it's the crazy guy, and that's about it. He's been feuding a little bit with Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid is one of the AAA wrestlers that gets an invite in occasionally. The big spot in this, this match was only 6 minutes 42 seconds long, but really the biggest spot was kind of the end spot. They were both on the top rope. You had Crazy Steve trying to pull the mask off of Laredo Kid. Laredo Kid bit Crazy Steve like Crazy Steve bites everyone. And does a flip off the top rope. 1, 2, 3, gets the pin. New champion, Laredo Kid. That was literally the match. I ended up giving it 2 3/4 star. It was okay. Next up, the third countdown match was the TNA Knockout World Tag Team titles on the line. Champions Spitfire, Dani Luna, and Jody Threat taking on Decay, Havok, and Rosemary. I don't know if they just don't understand what they need to do with Havok and Rosemary, because they've had them as Havok and Rosemary. They've changed their characters. They've changed them again. And they just keep going back to Decay. But yet, they keep going back to Decay, and nothing happens. They had all these women's tag teams. They had Masha Slamovich with Killer Kelly, which was an awesome team, MK Ultra. Multiple time tag team champion. They split up. Now you can only have these 2 teams, but now you have Masha Slamovich teaming up with Alisha Edwards, who won a contract for a women's tag match, but she doesn't have a tag partner. So her and Masha are together. They actually came down at the end. But this match was kind of just wonky. It just didn't flow very well. It wasn't that good. When all 4 of these women are very talented, so I don't understand why this match wasn't better than it was. I ended up giving it 2.5. I just didn't have chemistry with them. You just had one of those things where they were just kind of going through the motions to me. But 2.5, Spitfire, Dani Luna, and Jody retaining their women's knockout tag team championship. All right, first match on the card, we had the TNA X Division Championship. The X Division, we know it's not about weight limits, it's about no limits. Champion Mustafa Ali taking on Jake something. That's kind of been the storyline all along with this. Mustafa Ali comes in, kind of that presidential candidate. He has a Secret Service with him. And when Jake something won the #1 contendership, he was like, whoa, he's too big for the X Division. He's not X Division material. And that's when they've really brought up the whole about no limits. And Joe's name came up a few times. So it was kind of like, okay, we're going to make sure that Mustafa looks just the elite god of the X Division right now. Jake something took it to him though. I will give him that. He is one of the top big man in the business. Why he's not in a bigger company, I will never know. But uber talented guy. This match was excellent. When you get the small guy like Mustafa Ali going against the big guy, that dynamic, they were able to make it work, able to make it look good. Then you had the heelness of Mustafa's character coming in. The Secret Service got involved. They ended up hitting Jake something and one of them distracted the referee. The other ones, Jake something was laying on the outside, and they literally annihilated him, rolled him back into the ring. Two of them held him down. Mustafa hits the 450, and then Mustafa rolls him back over away from the ropes. The other Secret Service gets away from the referee. The referee turns around. Mustafa just lays down, 1, 2, 3, and gets the victory. Despite the funky ending like that, which I think they're going to build to something else with that, or just keep building where the Secret Service help Mustafa Ali, and then eventually they'll get banned from ringside. But I give it 3.5, and Mustafa Ali retaining his TNA X Division Championship. Next up, we had Swann with AJ Francis taking on Joe Hendry. Everyone loves Joe Hendry, except for Sean Merriam and AJ Francis, of course. Yes, legendary football player Sean Merriam was there. He come in. He was first going to kind of played off like he was on Joe's side against Rich and AJ Francis, and then he ends up clotheslining Joe Hendry. He's on the side of AJ Francis and Swann, and then Swann was able to get the 1, 2, 3 easy pin on Joe Hendry. 2.5 stars all I gave this. It's like, ugh. That's the way I felt about this match. There's no reason for Sean Merriam to get involved, and to kind of have it end like that. It's like, ugh. Both these guys, I get AJ Francis getting involved because he is with Swann. They are a tag team. But it was kind of like, I've always thought Joe Hendry deserved a kind of run with this is going to be the championship, which he's had a small run. I think he is a talented guy. Like similar way with a Kip Saban over in AEW. Those kind of guys, I've seen them in the UK, and they're actually uber talented. They just can't get over here in America. I don't understand it. Next up, I thought it was wonky, but that's just the way that I look at matches. We had a Full Metal Mayhem match, which, for those of you who don't know TNA history, Full Metal Mayhem was basically TLC. They couldn't call it TLC because WWE trademarked it, so they called it Full Metal Mayhem. Doors, wrong company, doors. Tables, ladders, and chairs. So you had this Full Metal Mayhem match, Frankie Kazarian versus Eric Young, two of the pillars, two of the original TNA guys, and they just took it to each other. It was basically a fight. It was just a brawl. They had a trash can got involved, and then you had you had Eric Young pull out Janice, made a return. For those of you who don't know, back in the day, back in the original TNA, Abyss, the Monster Abyss, had a black 2x4 with spikes coming out of it, and it was named Janice. And during hardcore Monster Balls matches, Janice was making an appearance or two. This is actually the first time we've seen Janice back in TNA in a while. And Eric Young used it on Frankie Kazarian, and Frankie Kazarian was able to recover, especially when you pull out the old black bag. The black bag never has anything good in it. It always has either tacks or glass. Depends on what company you're with. So we had the full bag of tacks and that led to Frankie Kazarian getting the victory over Eric Young. I give it 3.5. Definitely a pretty good match. Full Metal Mayhem to me needs to have a title with it, or some stipulation just instead of just Full Metal Mayhem match. You gotta have with the ladders. You gotta have something to go for. Next up, we had Steve Maclin come out and tell the Director of Authority, Santana, that he deserved to be on the card. He needed to be on the match. So Santino's like, the ink's not even dry on a free agent. We just signed. We were brought in. He wants his first match tonight, and you can have him. And that is House of Glory champion Mike Santana returning to TNA, formerly part of LAX with Hernandez leading it, Santana and Ortiz. So Mike Santana making his TNA return. He's been doing a lot in House of Glory. He's had a cup of coffee in AEW. I know he had some personal stuff going on, and he actually got away from the business for a minute, I believe. He is back. He is ready for retribution in the pro wrestling business. On his own, singles guy. Again, House of Glory heavyweight champion. One of the most talented wrestlers out there. Part of one of the greatest tag teams ever in LAX. Him and Steve Maclin had just a fight. This is just two bigger guys, just a hoss fight, kind of. I ended up giving it 3.25 with Mike Santana getting the victory. Next up, we had the TNA World Tag Titles on the line. We had champion The System, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, taking on Speedball Mountain, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Trent 7. This was one of those matches where Alisha Edwards at ringside gets involved. The System, that heel tactics, underhanded, behind the referee stuff, getting involved. Speedball Mike Bailey, Trent 7, pretty good tag team. Unfortunately, they came up short here against The System. I ended up giving it 3.5 star, with The System retaining their tag team championships. Next up, in a last man standing match, we had Josh Alexander versus Hammerstone. The whole storyline behind this has been the headgear that Josh Alexander wears. We know he got injured a long time ago, wanted to come back, he started wearing the headgear to come back. That became a signature of his. Hammerstone took the headgear from him as a lead up to this, and so he comes out with around his bicep, like his bicep is as big as Josh's head kind of deal, and Josh was like, I can buy those anywhere, not a big deal, I don't care. And so they end up setting up the last man standing to see who the best man was. There's a lot of 9 counts, last man standing here. At one point you had Josh Alexander throw Hammerstone into the lights that was across the ring. It was across the ramp when you come in. They're all laying on the ground broken. You had both of them just brawling outside the ring, brawling up on the stage. Again, multiple times where you had each of them barely getting in the ring on the 10 count. And then in the end, you had Josh Alexander getting to his feet, Hammerstone getting counted to 10, almost 20 minutes, 4-star match, Josh Alexander, the last man standing. Next up is pure trash. This match is pure unadulterated trash, and I cannot believe in 2024 TNA put a match on like this. Champion, TNA Knockout World title on the line. Champion Jordynne Grace, one of the best wrestlers, not even going to say female wrestlers, one of the best wrestlers in pro wrestling. Part of the Royal Rumble. Taking on SDL, Steph Delander, Matt Cardona's thing. She is the, some champion of some sort, broski, I don't know what the heck that title is she created with Matt Cardona, but she had Jason Hotz and John Skyler at her side because Matt Cardona got hurt, he had surgery. She won a number 1 contender match, but okay, I've seen her a lot in GCW, I knew who she is. she's an okay wrestler. I'm like, yeah, Jordan's going to annihilate her. So the referee gets knocked down. You have Jason Hodge take the referee's shirt and put it on. He tries to count to 3. Then the lights go out. Then PCO comes out. PCO stops him from counting. PCO chokeslams him. PCO takes out Steph DeLander. Then we have what's the dude come out? Khan comes out, attacks PCO, has that face off against Jordan Grace. And then after Khan comes out, the lights go out again. Khan takes out the good hands, and then lights go out again. The Death Machine, Sami Callihan returns. I thought that was kind of cool. So he takes out Khan, and PCO's out. And then we have another referee come in, and then we resume the match, and Jordan Grace gets the pinfall victory over Steph DeLander. I gave it 2.25. All that other stuff did not need it in a TNA Knockouts Championship match whatsoever. And then we had a vignette for Jonathan Gresham. So it looks like Jonathan Gresham is signed with TNA. They are talking, there's vignettes about him changing his personality and wearing a mask and all this. I'm sitting there going, just let Jonathan Gresham be Jonathan Gresham. He's one of the best technical wrestlers in professional wrestling. He is the octopus. He can tie you up in knots. Just let him be himself here. But the character looks like it's going to have a mask on. It looks a lot like the Fiend, to be honest with you. That's what it reminded me of. As I'm watching this vignette before the main event, I'm like, it really looks like the Fiend. So we'll see if that actually is going to be like the Fiend or exactly what it is. Jonathan Gresham going to be wrestling for TNA in upcoming time frame. Next up, we had the main event, the TNA World Heavyweight title line. We had champion Moose taking on Nick Nemeth. Kind of that lone guy who can't win the big one. He mentioned Dolph Ziggler. He actually said Dolph Ziggler a couple times in the promo, and he's talking about how he's failed in the past. He's not going to fail in the future. And all this. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's kind of you're setting this up kind of okay, cool, you know. I actually thought you're going to have him actually win here, but with Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and Alisha Edwards all at ringside, the system, it was kind of, they're getting involved, they're doing things. Nick Nemeth was holding his own, and then you just kind of like, he gets to the mountaintop and just can't win the big one kind of deal. And end up losing to Moose. And then when the match is over, I didn't give it 3.5. It's a pretty decent match. It's like, okay, I kind of see what they're almost trying to do with Nick Nemeth, trying to build him up like he can't win the big one, he can't win the big one, he can't win the big one, he finally wins it. But then you have the lights go out. You have this kind of weird message coming up on the big screen. And you're like, who? And I'm literally just sitting there going, who could this possibly be that, you know, is going to have something like this? And then when the lights come on, you get it. Delete, delete, delete. The broken Matt Hardy returns to TNA. I'm curious where they go with it. Be honest with you, straight up. If they do it like it was before, cool. You know, prior to 2020 when he went to AEW, cool. Then it also, is he still with AEW? Is he going to do both? Is there a relationship with TNA and AEW? We're going to go back to that. I'm all cool with that. But we have Frankie Kazarian. We have Matt Hardy. We have Nick Nemeth, who hasn't really showed up in AEW yet. We have Mike Santana, who's been in AEW. Is there just people that kind of their contracts expire and they just kind of slowly go to TNA? Or are we starting to have a relationship where, you know, that's what I want to see. Where's the end of this? Do we have a relationship, or is it still totally like they're competitors again? But we'll see. So we had Sami Callihan return. We had Matt Hardy return. So 2 good pieces that definitely help TNA going forward. Moose, still your TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Jordan Grace, still your TNA Knockout Champion. The System, still your TNA World Tag Team Champions. Mustafa Ali, still your TNA X Division Champion. Overall, TNA Rebellion was a good show. I definitely want to see what Under Siege does. And they announced Slammiversary for July. We'll see what that does as well. But that is the review of TNA Rebellion. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. Don't just have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader, sports channel content.